What's up, YouTube family? You're tuning into another video. This is going to be a continuance of my latest video talking about how the narcissist is dangerous. Last video I was sharing experiences I had, when I was just talking about how toxic these individuals are, how just evil they are, how they're always scheming, they're always plotting against you, just want to ruin your life. Their true intentions is to literally enslave you. They want you to answer every command that they have for you with a smile, basically. They don't want anyone to challenge them. So, like I said, man, these narcs, they're very dangerous. Going back on my story that I was talking in the last video, when a narc left my house, the home we were living in, and her friend picked her up to take her to the hospital. So she was gone. She was gone for a couple of days after the fact. I didn't care. I didn't want to be around her because just how toxic and how bad that night was. I just knew something wasn't right. So there was one night, probably like 2 days later, 3 days later, there's a night that I went to sleep. And I went to sleep pretty early because I used to work early in the morning. And it was probably around like 11:30 at night. Something told me just to wake up. I know I was in a deep sleep because I know I was tired, but something told me just to wake up. So I kid you not, I opened my eyes, right? Mid-sleep, I opened my eyes, and then my narcissistic ex was literally just like glaring at me, staring at me like right in my face. It kind of freaked me out. And I'm like, what are you doing? And instantly, she literally just ripped the covers off of me. She hit me. She started just like slamming doors, just knocking stuff over, just causing a huge scene. And I'm just like distraught. I'm in mid-sleep. I just woke up, and I just can't believe what's going on. I'm just, raising my voice a little bit because I'm just like, what are you doing? Get out of here. You're crazy, like saying things like that. And after a few minutes of her just causing damage around the house, she stormed out. And I was just looking around the place. I just couldn't believe what happened. I'm like, this goes to show that narcissists don't take accountability. Because for someone who acted irrationally a few days later, all of a sudden acts the same way, it's just appalling to me. So she left. I'm just walking around the place, just in disbelief. I have to work early in the morning, and about 5 minutes later, I hear a knock on the door, and instantly, I thought to myself how late it was. Obviously, my narcissistic ex had a key to the house. That it must be the police. So I walked up to the door, looked out the peephole, and I seen police standing there. So I opened the door, and they're asking me. They're saying like, "Hi, sir. They're just pretty much explaining to me while they were there. They're saying that we received a phone call, and basically he was asking me did anything happen." And the only thing I said, like, I felt in my spirit, not to trust these individuals, not to like share too much detail with them because I felt it. I felt the trap. I felt what the narcissist was doing. I felt the scheme, resonating in my spirit. I basically just told them that she was just upset. She was just upset, and I was in mid-sleep, and she just came in the house and just started throwing things and just causing like destruction like inside the house. And then he was just saying something about her phone, and I'm just like, her phone, like she has her phone. I was like, I don't even know why she's here. I was like, I was like, we're not on good terms. I was just telling him this, like, we're not on good terms. I was like, but I was just sleeping peacefully, and she just, I was like, I don't know what her issue is. So they kind of just looked, and they just told me like, okay, basically she just wants to make sure like she has some stuff. I'll be right back. So the officer left to go talk to her. I guess she was standing outside somewhere, and then he came back. He's like, okay, have a good night. So I go back to bed, laying there. I couldn't go back to sleep. You know, it was just crazy. I couldn't. I even tried to take like melatonin, you know, to kind of ease my mind, but it didn't do anything. If anything, it kept me even more, you know, awake. So the very next day, I woke up, and I think I was off that day. It was like in the morning time, and I think it was around like maybe 10:30 in the morning. And I'm sitting there watching TV, still thinking about the night before, just, you know, can't believe it. And there's another knock on the door. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this again? So I look out the door, and there was more police. I'm like, what can this be about? You know? I was like, they came last night. I mean, what are they here for? So basically, when I opened the door, they're just asking me like, hey, you know, am I Mr. You know, asking me, who I am, Mr. Woods? I was like, yes, I am. And then they just said like, I understand. He's like, you know, these situations are tough. And I'm like, when he was like saying things like that, I'm like, situations are tough. Where is he getting at? But he's like, I understand these situations are tough. But I was like, you've been served this paperwork. So I grabbed the paperwork, I opened it, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And then there's like, yeah, they're like, apparently she went this morning, and they're like, this, I want you to understand, they're like, anybody, they said this to me, they're like, I want you to understand, like, anybody can just go to a courthouse and file a protective order or whatever the case may be, just cause. I was like, they don't have to have the evidence with them at court. I was like, they can just write a statement, and depending on what the statement says, it would be, you know, sufficient enough to issue it. He's like, it's only temporary. So I'm reading it, and basically they're saying like, yeah, so, you know, as of right now, they're like, well, I'll allow you to grab some of your things, but you have to be out of the house for, I think it was 7 days or 10 days. I think it was 10 days. But you have to be out of the house for 10 days. You can't come back to the house. They're saying like, I can't have contact with a narcissist. And like, I just am just livid inside, you know? I'm shocked. I can't believe that I'm going through this, you know, from something that I didn't even do. So I got a few things, and of course officers made sure like I got into my truck, and when I got in my truck, they drove off. They told me like, you know, I just got to leave, you know, within 30 minutes because the so-called victim is probably going to come back to the house. So I was sitting there in the car, not knowing where to go. I mean, getting thrown in my own house based off of false accusations, based off lies, based off of, you know, the narcissist using the court system to her advantage temporarily. So I was just sitting there, and finally, for like 45 minutes to an hour, I was able to find somebody that I was like, hey, look, you know, I just made up something, you know, because it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to have to tell somebody what actually happened. Like, hey, like, could you imagine be like, hey, my ex filed a protective order on me? You know, instantly people will be thinking like, you know, what happened? And I was just so ashamed. I was so embarrassed. Like, I didn't even want to bring that up. So I was just like, hey, you know, I just said my roommate, I was like, we're not really getting along right now. I was like, I just feel like we need our own space. Like, do you mind if I stay here for about a week? And fortunately, they were okay with it. So I stayed there, man. Stayed there for 10 days. Stressed out of my mind. Just, you know, couldn't believe that she did this. You know, I had Instagram. This is when I was on Instagram more. I don't really get on it that much, but, you know, we were still following each other. So, you know, she wasn't saying anything to me. She didn't send me a message apologizing. She didn't say like, hey, or send me, I know I couldn't contact her, but she didn't indicate anything to where she was sorry about what she did and the chaos that she caused and the unnecessary drama because of what she did, you know, because she feared that I was going to expose her, you know, which, yeah, that was definitely my intent. was to expose her. But she just feared, out of fear, she tried to get me jammed up. But yeah, during the 10 days, she didn't say anything at all, you know? I know I can only imagine what she was doing during those 10 days. I can only imagine like the slandering that was going on behind the scenes, the lies, playing the victim, getting people to feel bad for her. I mean, the whole nine, and I was just sitting there, just thinking about thinking about just like the evidence I had against her, where I told you in my previous video that I just felt in my intuition to hold on to these things, but at the same time, I'm a child of God. I fear the Most High, but at the same time, I know how this world is, and I felt like even with the evidence that I had, that her being a woman and me being a man of color, it is what it is. People, it's a reality. But I just felt like with her putting on an act, because narcissists are good at acting, I feel like with her doing that and just crying, whatever the case, I was just imagining how a court would go. I just felt like no matter what I had that was sufficient proof, like she would get what she wanted. But I was meditating on God's word and just, people speaking to my life, people I've never even met before, speaking to my life, telling me things will be okay. Like they already knew my situation. The divine literally coming to my life, telling me, keep your head up, everything will be okay. And I'll tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why in another video. But I just want to share this video, share this content with you. It's a continuance from my first video. So this is part 2, and I will be sharing with you guys part 3 very soon. Until next time, YouTube, thank you again for watching this video. Peace.